Deal or no deal, that's what we've been trying to figure out. A bipartisan group of 6 senators said Thursday that they reached an agreement on immigration. But Republican leaders said that everyone else isn't going to, quote, fall in line just because some members of Congress reached an agreement among themselves. At a meeting on immigration at the White House earlier, President Trump reportedly asked, why do we want all these people from expletive countries here? We should bring in more people from places like Norway. Jordan Frasier is a video reporter covering politics for the Washington Post, and he joins me now from Washington. So, Jordan, how does a question like that from the president, you think, affect negotiations on immigration?
Well, it certainly doesn't help negotiations, that's for sure. And for as crass as the president's comment was, this is a sentiment that we have seen from Donald Trump before, right? He campaigned on an American first platform. And I think that's what we're seeing here. He's reflecting that in these comments. We've seen it before in his Muslim ban suggestions. So this is nothing new, but what's for sure is it's not going to help things move along on Capitol Hill.
Well, the White House has to sign off on whatever lawmakers come up with, and I want to play some of what President Trump said about this when he met with lawmakers on Tuesday.
There should be no reason for us not to get this done. And Chuck, I will say, when this group comes back, hopefully with an agreement, this group and others from the Senate, from the House, comes back with an agreement, I'm signing it. I mean, I will be signing it. I'm not going to say, oh, gee, I want this or I want that. I'll be signing it because I have a lot of confidence in the people in this room that you're going to come out with something really good. Senator,
So, Jordan, at this point, it doesn't seem like the president will sign just anything. What are some potential holdups between lawmakers and the president?
Yeah. So I think there were two things in what the president said earlier this week, right? He said there's no reason they shouldn't get this done. I think that's a sentiment that is shared on Capitol Hill between Republicans and Democrats. If anything is going to get done in a bipartisan manner in the coming weeks and months, it's this. It's going to be on immigration because both sides are there. The details need to be worked out, but the consensus is they want to get something done here. The second part, the president saying he would sign anything, that's what's changed this week, right? We've seen the president evolve in his thinking. He has moved the target almost on a daily basis at this point. He has now said that a wall must be included. His comments earlier today didn't help this when a deal seemed to be reached to protect certain sectors of immigrants coming to this country. The president rejected that. So it's not helpful to negotiations when the president keeps moving the target. So that is just going to prolong these negotiations, I think, and make the overall process much more difficult.
Meantime, we're about a week away from a potential government shutdown. Does that seem more or less likely, you think, after what we saw out of Washington on Thursday?
I mean, if I know anything about Washington, it is that the way this will work is we will probably see another short-term spending bill to keep the government going for another month, a few more weeks, and we'll be having this conversation again in February. I can tell you, being on Capitol Hill every day, there seems to be frustration among senators in particular that this is kind of the new reality, right? No one seems to like this short-term bill to short-term bill method of keeping the government open. But I think that's just how Washington works right now, and it seems to be the reality. What I can tell you is, for all the talk of maybe tying some solution for Dreamers and a DACA solution to keeping the government open, which is something that Democrats are really interested in doing, I don't see that happening. I think just the legislative reality of 4 more work days before the government shuts down, that deal is not going to happen. So what's really going to become important this week is, what are Democrats going to do? Will they vote to keep the government open and with maybe a promise of addressing the Dreamers in the coming weeks? Or is a DACA solution and helping the Dreamers out something that Democrats are willing to shut down the government over?
We'll see. On the foreign policy front, Jordan, the president gave an interview to the Wall Street Journal, and in it he said, quote, I probably have a very good relationship with Kim Jong-un. Right. Now, this comes shortly after North and South Korea held their first direct talks in more than 2 years. Now, how do you think lawmakers are going to react to the president's comments?
I don't think lawmakers will be surprised by these comments because if you think about it, the president doesn't ever like to be at fault, right? And when you read those comments that he gave to the Wall Street Journal, he was very elusive. He didn't answer whether or not he had specifically spoken with the leader of North Korea. He wanted to he wouldn't be nailed down on that. But the president never likes to be the one who is at fault in this situation, right? He likes to be the best deal maker. He always has the biggest and the best. So in this, I think that's just another example that we saw here.
All right, Jordan Frasier in Washington. Jordan, thanks very much.
Thank you.